Hey Tom, Doug Benson here. Stu sent me to do a bong rip in your honor and to tell you that the fourth season of your podcast, the one with all the words in the title, it's going to be your best one yet. Also, he wants me to say that Stones is a terrible bitter and it's your dad's fault. Guess I'll do a bong rip. Oh, I hit my chin on the end of this bong. Have a good day.
Wow. It feels like only yesterday when I was happily enjoying the peaceful tranquility of retired life when a strange man reached out to me with an offer to make me famous beyond my wildest dreams. This strange man who spoke with a strange brogue, made me do strange things, buy bargain price boozy beverages from distant lands, record ridiculous ramblings week after week, and he even forced me at snowball point to drain 6 beers in one go. And that one he tricked me into doing twice. Although the scars will never fade, the beer stains look like they're here for a very long time. Man, I'm never getting my security deposit back. Welcome to Season 4 of the Lager Logs Points of View with Tom and Stu. I'm Tom, he's Stu. Say hello, Stu.
Is that you finished? Were you dropping those O's?
Oh, now you can go.
Thank you, and welcome to Tom's Therapy Sessions, where we let Tom talk out loud for 30 minutes, and we make him think it's about beer.
Is the session over or just begun?
But whatever keeps your foot off of that stool, mate. Whatever keeps you going.
Guys, thank you for that, Stu. I appreciate the love and support. We're back, guys. Yes, Season 4 is upon us, and clearly we're feeling very nostalgic tonight as we hit you with a very special flashback episode. We're returning to the combo of our very first installment of the show and bringing you another Tie and Trooper review. Are we a couple of trailblazing, inventive ideas men, or simply just lazy hacks who have run out of new ideas? We'll never know. Bit of both, I think, probably.
Yeah, this was your idea, so it's on you.
Gotta take blame for this one. Yeah, Stu, are you excited as I am to be kickstarting a new sizzling and sozzling season?
Yes, definitely. Funnily enough, the introduction to the season seems to be one of the last episodes we're recording.
Yeah, it's all a bit topsy-turvy this season. We've done it.
Not wanting to peek too far behind the curtain, but it's very strange thinking this is the start of Season 4.
Yeah, because our start of Season 4 happened a long time ago.
To be honest, I'm already fucking done with it.
You mentally checked out already of the season.
I mean, when people watch the videos, each week my beard's going to change length. There's going to be some weeks there's going to be hair on my head, and now that the season started, I've got none.
There's going to be so many discrepancies.
Jeez,
you slip-ups fans. You kind of keep an eye out for all those inconsistencies that will no doubt occur. Because as you said, we've been recording it a bit all over the place, but I think it's going to be worth all the hard work. We've got a fantastic season ahead of us. Well, you guys have ahead of us, as you said, we're nearly done. But tonight, as I hinted at earlier, we will be reviewing the Mighty Maidens Sun and Steel from their Trooper range and classic Thai tinny Singha, although that one is,
I have to use
yes,
both hands to lift this
confirmed,
up.
disappointingly out of the bottle instead.
630 milliliter.
He's a big boy. And he will be the first brew this evening, as we normally go with the weaker of our pairings, which Singha is, but I thought the beer sake mix of our second beer might be a bit safer to do at the end of the show. With it being a bit more complex. Yeah, I think the Singha would probably benefit from being done first. So, Singha it is. Let's do it. Crack this bad boy open. Stu, round 2 on this particular combo tonight. These are both first-time tries, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I've heard of Sun and Steel. Obviously, we tried to find it last season in lieu with that album release from Maiden. Had no luck. And
It was very
Singha,
disappointing.
I think it was something I just maybe saw in stores. Never really registered until you told me to go look for it.
Yeah, it's one I haven't had in ages, but I've always really liked it. Always kind of very reliable lager. So I'm hoping that I dig it tonight. So let's have a little sniff of this one. Yeah, it's
definitely lager.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's definitely got a very classic lagery smell to it. Are you going for the pour?
I am.
Try and make it as dramatic as possible, please. That's good. I like it. The tension is passable.
Could I get a flake for this? Very frothy, first of all.
Quite frothy indeed, yeah. What did you say about it being a lager? I got confirmation of that.
We might have to go with the Sun and Steel first whilst I let this other one settle down.
I can wait, don't worry. I got nothing else to do.
Through the power of editing, we are now ready to drink. Cheers,
buddy.
That's not bad, actually.
Not a bad brew. A bit more maybe metallic than I remember it being. Just a little bit, but
I didn't get that off of my one, but
it's got that crispiness there for sure, and also kind of a little bit of sweetness, tiny bit of sweetness possibly, but it's that crispiness. I'm
getting sweetness now. Yeah,
it's that crispiness that's really kind of popping out for me. So yeah, guys, here we have Singha sitting at a fantastic 5%, brewed by Boon Road Brewery in Thailand. The brewery was founded in 1933 by Boon Road Shresthaputra. Been practicing that. Maybe. He was first introduced to beer over a dinner arranged by a German acquaintance to discuss business opportunities in Siam, and afterwards committed to launching a home-brewed beer, with him spending 6 months in Europe, where he and his companions inspected numerous breweries and visited barley and hop farms to learn about the raw materials needed to brew beer. The brewery, interestingly, was named after Boon Road's childhood nickname, meaning fortunate survivor, following his lucky rescue after a fall into a canal. After major expansions in the 50s and 60s, in 1971, Singha was finally imported abroad. And after the installation of a new automatic filling line in the 80s, they doubled their capacity, and by 1996 was the best-selling beer in Thailand. The company at this point now has 4 breweries and 85 years under its belt and still going strong. The company brews one other beer, and that is Singha Reserve, a hoppier and longer matured brew with a slightly bigger ABV. So that's the other one in their line. Not known for having a lot of beers, but I think they're kind of the one they have is pretty goddamn iconic. So they tend to just stick with kind of making and selling that one. Right, Stu. I think it's about time to play catch up. We haven't spoke for a couple of weeks now, and we have a lot to talk about. I know you've been out and about. I have too. So seeing as we're both been quite busy boys, I thought tonight we'd split our last beers watched into home and away sections. So
Okay.
Firstly or thirstly, Stu,
Puns.
hit me up with the. No, I wear trousers. Hit me up with the brews you've managed to try fresh out of the fridge first, buddy. Lay it on me. What we got?
Well, I haven't had too much beer lately that I can talk about anyway. We could go off of
Mysterious.
our Robinson's Brewery connection,
Yes.
one you were very excited about.
Very excited.
I tried the.
Me too.
We tried.
We sampled this beer together, but separately, if that makes any
Yes.
sense.
The Robinson's Brewery Special Edition Coronation Street R Ale.
Our ale, yeah. We did it kind of in anticipation of the show, really, because as you said, it's brewed by Robinsons, the same guys behind one of our featured beers tonight, Sun and Steel. What did you think, Stu? Tell me.
I wasn't impressed.
You were impressed, no?
No.
No.
That was a drink that had a strong metallic taste to it.
Mm.
Yeah, obviously, I was reading the label. I think it was coming off as it's supposed to be a bitter.
Best bitter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
it was fine, but I couldn't shake this metallic taste when drinking it. And I finished it, but it was just kind of not a chore. That's too mean, but it wasn't a pleasant drink.
Do you know what? I could think that, or I could see, sorry, that it was maybe a bit boring. It didn't really have a lot of, finesse to it. Wasn't really kind of a jazzy beer, but I thought it was a really good bitter. I thought it was a really good best bitter.
Well, I did think that it was leaning more towards the traditional sense.
For sure, mate. Yeah,
Of
for
beer.
sure. I thought it was quite similar to Trooper actually. It was there's less of a punch to it, but obviously that makes sense. It being a bit weaker ABV wise. But I just thought it was still just a rock solid brew for me. A good beer, a bitter that I'd happily like session on for sure. I have a few in the house, definitely. I think. Do you know what it was? I think because it was Coronation Street and it was a special thing, and it was really kind of pushing the fact that it was like a special brew. I know where the disappointment comes from because there wasn't really a lot special about it, but it was really good. I thought really solid.
Just felt like someone took a piss on the cobbles and
A
poured
little
it
bit,
into a glass.
a little bit like that, but I like that. That's what I want with my beer. To be honest,
And to be honest, I'll let down Coronation Street fans now. There's not a name I could drop. I think the last relevant character I could cling on to would be like maybe Roy Cropper. Roy wouldn't drink this.
Roy might. Roy probably would if he got desperate. I'm certain. But yeah, it's not a bitter I'd go for straight away, but it's definitely not too far down the list for sure for me.
For me, it's definitely like I would just tried it for the novelty.
Yeah.
So it's a one-hit wonder for me. Tried it. Fair enough. Moving on. I would obviously go to Trooper before this again.
Yeah. Oh no, me too. Like for certain, mate. Yeah, for certain.
And the other beer, I mean, it was one out of the beer 52 box. Williams Bros El Perro Negro.
Yeah.
And I know if we were playing a game of Snap, you would immediately throw your hands on top of mine in an awkward moment of affection.
There's nothing awkward about that. Just sheer, powerful, unadulterated man love.
So
you're saying something about beer? Go.
Yeah, that this is the wrong way of me trying to say we've both had this because
we did.
Yes, Williams Bros. Pilsner, wasn't it? Now, was this a gluten-free beer?
Gluten-free Pilsner. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it had a bit, slightly supposed to have, sorry, a bit of orange taste to it. I did see. Didn't really get that. How did you feel about it?
I ended up really enjoying it. It was a nice, bubbly little Pilsner. Just light, crisp, easy to drink.
Yeah.
Ticks the normal boxes you'd expect from a Pilsner. And it's just a random get that you'd get in one of these Beer 52 boxes.
Yeah.
I was like, well, it's 50-50. It could be good, it could be bad, and ends up being a tasty little beverage that I would pick up again.
Definitely, man. Definitely. I was very surprised. I think I've had not a bad run, but I've had a couple of gluten-free beers, and they were not particularly great. But this is definitely the best one I've tried. It tasted a bit like peas, a little bit. It had that, but I don't know whether that's the gluten-free aspect or that's more the Pilsner aspect. Because I have had a few Pilsners in the past that tasted a bit peaty, bit garden
Right.
peaty, which I don't know whether that's a certain hop that I haven't identified within it, but that might be where the flavor's coming from. But other than that, yeah, I think it was really good. As I said, I didn't really get a lot of citrus vibes from it or any kind of orange vibes from it, which I think it did say that it utilized. But just really good, dude. Yeah, very surprising. Would definitely drink again for sure.
No, definitely. I was well impressed with that one. And speaking of gluten-free,
Yes.
I went out this weekend.
You went out this weekend.
Yes.
You left the house.
I
Come
did.
on. You're pulling my leg.
Put on my mask.
Don't say those
and
things.
my big jacket, and I got on the train.
And where did you go?
So I ended up going to Belfield Brewery for a brewery tour.
Wow.
Yes, and
beautiful.
This is the first chance. This is my second brewery tour. First one was like pre-pandemic, stag do, great time, and this one was smaller. It was just me and my missus out for an afternoon, go down to Edinburgh, sit in this little beer garden, and then get taken on a tour of like the most unlikely, like when the Uber dropped us off at the brewery. It just looked like a bunch of garages across from a block of flats. And I'm like, where's the crafty hipster beer pub place?
You drank the crafty beer in the Uber, remember?
So
you told me that's where you were planning
do that
to.
In Scotland. And turns
I
out,
wasn't aware.
Just around the corner, there was this little door. You go in and bam, it's this tap room out the back. It's a beer garden, and what kind of looks like a length of garages is actually their brewery. So, and I mean, microbrewery
were deceiving.
Nails it.
Yeah, it was kind of a small setup.
And the thing is, I've always just imagined this was a bigger operation because I always see Belfield Brewery's Bohemian Pilsner in Lidl's and Aldi's, and I just assume if they're in the shops, it must be a fair-sized operation.
Yeah, you do assume that, yeah. But I think I have been surprised in the past with kind of how small some of these places are, or kind of how hidden away some of these places are.
Totally. And I mean, their whole operation probably spans the length of say 3 garages. Like just
it's amazing.
The first one would have like obviously the water tanks, the mash tun, the fermenters, and all that. Then it has the tanks where the beers are fermenting, and then the last one is just all the kegs of beer they've produced. So our tour guide James, who's one of the guys that work in the bar, he didn't work. He said himself that he wasn't one of the brewers, but he's had a hand in the process. And I mean, the knowledge that this boy rattled off, the history in Edinburgh, the process into making the beer. They had like samples of like the oats out, hops. It was so strange to grab like a handful of like hot pellets, rub them in your hand and sniff it, and you think, I can smell like a hazy IPA. What is going on?
Where's that hot water? Someone pass me the hot water.
We need to make it quick.
Can you make this like a pot noodle, right? Come on.
And yeah, it was just so impressive, and the guy's knowledge was just untapped. You would just ask him questions, he just nailed it. Like, I asked them things about like what is the point of double dried hops, and just sort of like those hard hitting questions. And he even like explained like the difference between casks and kegs in a way that, oh, of course that makes sense now. And he followed it up by serving us a drink from both cask and keg, like the same IPA, just from two different styles, and you just could see the difference.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there having wee taster samples, and just my mind being blown at each sip, going, it all makes sense now. Like this should have been a single
Finally.
tear rolling down my cheek.
It's only taken him 4 seasons. He's
I
done.
know.
He's done.
So, and the whole reason I mentioned about speaking of gluten-free, Belfield Brewery is largely a gluten-free brewery.
Yeah.
It was founded, like the two founders, because this was only established in 2015, which also blew my mind. I'm always thinking these go way back. But no, in 2015, the two owners were drinking gluten-free beer because they both have an intolerance to gluten. I can't remember what the term is.
Celiac.
Yes, that's it. They both were drinking gluten-free beer and wondered why is it so rubbish? So they went out their way to make good gluten-free beer. And I've been trying their beers for a while and thinking this is great, and didn't know anything about it being gluten-free.
Did they not know about the El Perro Negro? Did you let them know? Guys, you can stop. It's okay. They've cracked it.
Again, where's my dunce cap? Because I didn't remember that one being gluten-free either. But the good thing, it was a short 45-minute tour. Then it was followed up with a tasting of 4 beers. So they just came out, gave us a sample of their Pilsner, a sample of their craft lager, followed up with their session ale, and then their Lawless IPA, which was on both cask and keg, and even let us try some out of the tank as well.
Wow. You just put your
just
hand into it, just
just like a big soup ladle.
Okay.
Yeah. Or it was one of those hamster water bottles.
I thought you were just there, just arm, just kind of arm.
Margaret, hold me by the ankles. I'm going in.
Into the tank.
I've got a snorkel. I'm not going to do any breathing though. So it was.
This is why you bring your gas tanks, kiddies, to every brewery tour.
So I mean, it was about a good hour and a half, maybe at most, but it was a great time. I just really enjoyed myself, just getting to sit,
awesome,
enjoy these samples, let James kind of explain the process to us, what we should be tasting, and it was bang on. It was definitely something was like, man, this is great. Like, everyone should try this once type of deal.
For sure, yeah.
I would have happily spent the rest of the afternoon there trying all their beers. I mean, they even had their Lawless, I think it's Lawless Village IPA. They had a double, which was like a 9%. And I was kind of like puppy dog eyes at Margaret. I was like, can we? Can we? And Margaret had already finished a 12-hour night shift at 8 a.m. And then I was like, come on, get on the train to Edinburgh. We're going to drink beer.
What a trooper. What a trooper.
It was about, 6 o'clock by the time we got home that night. And it's like, come on, we're going to binge watch Peacemaker. You could stay up for a few more hours, can't you?
So you're lucky you're married, you are. I'll tell you that. Jesus Christ.
She's done well to put up with me.
They all do, Stu. They all do.
And on a wee final note for the Belfield Brewery tour, at the end we were given little beer mats. Which, yes, I love a beer mat, but on the back of it had a 20% off code for coming on the tour. So I cashed that puppy in last night.
Straight away. That's brilliant, dude. That is brilliant.
Should have a little box of beer and some accessories arriving tomorrow.
Exquisite. Buddy, you can't go wrong. I mean, I'm glad you had a great time, but you can't go wrong. I mean, finding out all these different things, kind of, exploring beer and the behind the scenes aspect of it, supporting a local brew.
So that's what I wanted to do most.
And also drinking, the whole drinking aspect to it. I'm sure that comes into play, the whole drinking beer thing. So, man, it's a win-win situation. And I'm glad you had a good time, man. It sounds amazing. It's brilliant. Is that, well, I mean, to be honest, if you had more beers, if you managed to stack more into that week, I'd be very surprised. I'm assuming that was your week
That was the
in
noteworthy
beer.
beers to talk about.
Brilliant, man. Do you know what? It's funny you should say Belfield, because as you could probably tell, I've been picking up
wait
my
a second.
box
What's that?
from
Wait, is that a segue?
beer 52.
Oh,
Do you
tell
like
me
that
more,
one?
Thomas.
Do you like that one? So yeah, as you could probably tell, I've been picking at my box from beer 52 or beer 62, as I like to refer to them as, because they always make sure the phone calls to cancel them is at least over an hour. And it's yeah, it's Dark Sky Porter, and I don't want to rain on your parade, Stu, but I didn't quite get on with it myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know whether you've heard of this one or seen this one.
I might have. Was it like a purple can?
Yes,
Right.
I think so. Yeah, I think yeah, purple can. Yeah, it was like chocolatey maybe, but just quite watery, which is fine if you're into that. But I always prefer a thicker texture when it comes to quite dark beers. It just sits better for me when it's got a bit of thickness. But it was absolutely fine, like drinkable, definitely. Just nothing that blew my socks off. But
Yeah.
shout out to Belfield for being so gosh darn accommodating to you, Stu.
Yeah, definitely.
And that just makes up for the fact they didn't like their beer. Just evens it out.
We're not worried about
Just
your
cool.
opinion.
Do you know what? The 7 people who listen to this show would disagree, Stu. So you can piss off. And yeah.
Hello to Tom's dad.
Mom, Nan,
Yep.
second cousin.
Have you told him to do those reviews on Apple for us yet? 5-star.
There's been some.
Grant, for my birthday this year, don't worry about the money in a card. Just go to this website address.
Just about to say, there's been an exchange of money. Some money has changed hands, so hopefully that'll kind of really boost the star rating on iTunes. And finally, in terms of beers in the house, I consumed the home and away aspect of this last beer's watch. If I didn't make that clear in the beginning,
successful segment.
A very successful spin on this. Completely fucked it up. So I also tucked into another William Bros banger. The lads did not disappoint again, and that was their Profanity stout. And man, this is beautiful. One of the best imperial stouts I've had. Just pure roast, basically. Was its one taste, or its one kind of flavor profile was just pure roast, man, and that for me was just perfect. It was basically like a stronger March of the Penguins, which is not a bad thing at all. You know, a fantastic stout, and this was kind of like the slightly heavier brother
King Penguin.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. And it was lovely. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. So that's probably the best so far from my beer 52 box that I had. And yes, away section starting now. Did manage to leave the house a couple of times over the last fortnight. Always a pleasure. Last week, I had a fantastic Sunday evening. I nipped out for a quiet one at local brewery, Two Towers. I did actually have a stingy ring the next day, funnily enough, but that may have been from the pork scratchings. Yeah,
I don't imagine they would leave you quite well.
No
smooth exit.
No way, man! Like passing a kidney stone, Jesus. Yeah, they were lovely guys. They're hosted at a pub called the Gunmaker's Arms, and I managed to sample 2 of their brews. The first was Jewelry Porter, a gorgeous bevy on tap, which was not as thick as I'd normally like, but flavour-wise delivered in spades. Just all the darker fruity notes you expect with a good porter. Had a very subtle sweetness to it, almost like a prunes and figs profile. Exceptional. Really, really liked it. I also sampled Baskerville Bitter, and I tell you, there are a few hounds in there. Am I right? You weren't there, so you can't comment on that. But
yeah, that's went right to the dogs, mate.
It was. It was it was quite cloudy looking for a bitter. It wasn't a particularly clean looking brew, but really good. A very acceptable session bitter for sure. No great shakes, but just really, really solid. And lastly, just to dive into this weekend gone by, I finally had a chance to wrap my lips around Camden Town's Hells on tap.
Oh.
And yeah, it wasn't as crafty as I thought it was going to be. The best way to describe it would be it's like one of your American lagers, say Bud or Miller, but with a very subtle hint of something there, like a very mild hoppiness to it.
Okay.
Quite dry, quite crisp, so very chuggable. I can see why it's popular, but I highly doubt it'd be something I have a few tins of in the house, personally.
I've not found like the Camden can to go to just yet. I've tried their pale and I think IPA, and both of them kind of left me a wee bit let down.
I think it might have something to do with the translation to bottle or can. I think it's everywhere I go now in terms of on tap. Like I've seen it a lot of places, so I think it's very clearly a popular draft beer. So
yeah,
and it's it's always good to see. It's a nice kind of option for people who want something a bit craftier. But it definitely tasted a bit more like an American lager for me personally. But yeah, fantastic week, really fantastic couple of weeks, and that is about it from moi this evening. Stu, what do you think about this beer? Thank you, man. What's going on? Have you finally managed to have a drink from the glass rather than the bottle?
Yes, I have definitely been working my way through it. It is a very nice, easy drinking lager, which is dangerous for me because it just I could have a few of these and just try and stop me.
I'm not going to do that, buddy. I would not do that to a friend. Yeah, I agree. Very sessionable, crisp, but quite soft at the same time, but not too harsh. A little bit of sweetness to it. Just, I think I think a lot of people choose it as a good beer to have with food.
Yeah,
and I would definitely say that too, because it's not too kind of overwhelming in terms of flavour. It's quite subtle, and I think it worked really well with something quite rich.
See that going with like a nice sweet chili stir fry.
Hell yeah, definitely.
Just something with a wee bit spice to it, and just kind of have the Singha there to kind of put out the fire.
Like one of those R&B guys, or kind of like an operatic like lady, something like that. Because I don't really like noise when I'm eating, so I would prefer it if they just.
Yeah,
to be honest.
If you're listening to this wondering where he's going, I'm right there with you, buddy. Sorry, Tom, I'm talking to the listener.
Oh, because when you said buddy, I thought that's fine. Right, second up tonight, Stu. You're gonna have a problem with this episode. I'm sorry, man.
I was going to release on Friday.
Apologize.
Maybe a week on Friday.
Definite. Second up tonight, we finally have it in our cold, dead hands.
No thanks to Eddie.
Yeah, well, Eddie looking good. They're looking very Japanese on the front. After numerous failed attempts, it's Trooper, Sun, and Steel. Yep. Man, come on.
And I mean, only for it to come to us through my friend's next door neighbor, who's a big Iron Maiden fan, but clearly doesn't like sake infused lager.
See, I don't know whether I like sake infused lager, so I'm keeping an open mind about this. It's like when you were a kid and you used to say, Mom, this tastes like poo," and she was just like, "How do you know what poo tastes like?" And you'd be all embarrassed and shit because you'd be like, "Well, I haven't been eating poo." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Trooper.
Thanks, Guthrie, and your Iron Maiden loving neighbor.
Shout out to Guffers.
Mm-hmm.
Really appreciate that, dude. Yeah, because we had an absolute, just awful time trying to track this down.
Mm-hmm.
Really bad time. Really depressing time. We're glad that we've actually finally got it, and we will be sampling it live on air for your listening pleasure. Almost like cidery smell to it.
It kind of got a wee fruit.
Yeah.
It does mention that there was some sort of fruit infusion. Double fermented Pilsner.
Yeah.
Infused with sake. With a flash of fruit.
Yeah, sake yeast.
Mm-hmm.
It's been brewed with.
What
Interesting.
fruit do you think they're going to flash us with?
Probably, don't know. Couple of pears or something.
Yeah, I can see a couple random plums.
Couple of
It's just been thrown at us out of a pair of joggies. Nice colour to it, though.
That does sound really good. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I need to see a doctor about that. I'm sorry. It's been a build up.
So it's definitely what was that? A premium lager and a pilsner.
Yes,
sake
infused pilsner.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, very much looking forward to having a go on this, Stu. Cheers, my friend. We did it. Cheers. We made it happen.
Season 4.
Cheers to season 4. It's bitter.
It does have a bitterness to it, but it's a flavour I can't nail.
No, it's bitter and it just evaporates pretty much straight away. I'm not that experienced with sake to let you know whether that does taste like sake, but maybe you would be able to inform the dear listeners, Stu, of your sake career.
That was it. I just said it right there. Nil. I mean, what would we both have had Asahi Super Dry?
Yeah.
What was that? And obviously, I know it is a Japanese lager.
Yeah, it's made with rice. That one is. That's
right. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's a Japanese lager made with rice, and I think I mean, it's not very close to that. I mean, now I'm just kind of trying to compare apples and oranges or apples and plums, I suppose. But in terms of like a Japanese beer, I know what you're thinking is behind that, man. But it's not very close to that. It's very different. I don't know about that. Look, let's mull on it while
I'm going to need some time to think about it. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. So yes, it's Iron Maiden's Sun and Steel sitting at a Fandabby Dozy 4.8% from Robinson's Brewery. They were founded in Stockport, Greater Manchester, by William Robinson, who purchased the Unicorn Pub in 1838, and it was his eldest son George who brewed the first Robinson's Ale in 1849. Nothing at all happened for around 150 years. Until their collaboration with Iron Maiden, which began in 2013, producing the greatest beer in the world, the OG Trooper, and continued with a whole host of stuff, including 666, which was their stronger version of original Trooper. I really want to try, but has been retired now, sadly. Trooper IPA, which is pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's disappeared from Morrison's. You know that I told you it was there. Go back the next week. No, it's not.
Yeah, that was again. Yeah, like you said, that was a struggle, man, to track down because it kept kind of disappearing. But Yeah, no surprises, but a rock solid classic IPA. And Fear of the Dark, the stouty
Mhm.
boy. In terms of
Yeah.
non-maiden brews, they do have a couple of interesting ones. Old Tom is their other famous beer, which I've had in the past. It's like
That
a
other one, the cat label.
yeah, it's like a blend of an old ale and a barley wine, and I remember it being really good, but I just haven't seen it again since the last time I had it. I don't know whether there's like a distribution problem with Robinsons. I love you, shout out to Robinsons, but you just can't seem to get a lot of their brews kind of consistently. But that was a really good one. And Dizzy Blonde is one of their more popular golden ales, which I think I've seen maybe on cask a couple of times before. And they also do a Citra IPA called Hopnik.
Okay.
So yeah, topic 2 of this evening. We put out the call. Our beloved listeners answered and provided us with some questions, and we're gonna have a crack at them now. Our Lord and Savior, Dirty Stew, has hooked us up with a couple of scorchers, and they are. Let's just get straight into it. They are first up. I'm gonna toss it to you, Stew, first, so I can have another little sip on this brewski, and that has shocking. That is, how has your taste changed from before the podcast started to now? Lay it on me, big
Oh,
fella.
I feel my tongue has had an education.
Mm,
As
sure, yeah, for sure.
from the days of when I would go to a pub normally and just be
Just
default
tenants, nothing but
Bud,
tenants.
Budweiser, please. That'll do. Cheers. And now it's kind of like I'd be looking over the counter now at the fridge. What have you got in there? Or looking at the taps. Like, what you got on tap? What have I not had? Like this new curiosity where I'm just like, oh, I try everything. Let me just try all these weird and wonderful beers. And if I could find something weird and wonderful, then quids in. I've got something to talk about next week on the podcast. So
That's always a
my
plus, yeah.
taste has definitely changed because I can never imagine myself drinking dark beers. Like if you were saying, "Oh, Stuart, you need to try this porter," I would probably just like, "Oh, I really?" And then when you'd be away, you'd be like, "Fuck that."
Talking behind my back, are you? That's not very nice, is it?
So but that's the whole part. That's the challenge of the beer
Yeah.
podcast. You go outside of your comfort zone of Budweiser and Jack Daniels, and you try something like what old speckled hen. What's this? How the fuck's that gonna taste? Let's find out.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, man. And I probably feel exactly the same with craft beer and something that I always dip my toe in every now and again, but never really kind of took to. But with the podcast, it's been kind of really opening my eyes to that there is a lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah.
There is a craft beer for kind of everybody, and there will be something you find that you really dig with kind of a lot of the smaller brewers. I say in terms of just kind of their profile, not in terms of their quality, just guys other than your big brands that you kind of often see in the supermarket or the kind of more well-known brands. So for me, yeah, it's really kind of opened up my eyes, and I've managed to find some really really good stuff. Whether it be from doing them on the show or whether it be from recommendations from Stu or talking amongst ourselves and finding stuff. So no, it's been great. I think both of us can say that from the start of the show to now, we've just probably expanded our palette.
Oh, definitely.
A little bit for sure. Another question from Dirty Stew. We have worst beer from either a big brewery or your favourite brewery. That's an interesting one.
Worst beers.
It's
the well, Brewdog actually.
Could we? Yeah, but
know,
is that your favourite brewery though? Oh well, yeah, big
no,
brewery. Go big
like
brewery.
big brewery,
That's
like
okay.
big brewery. Everyone and their Doug seem to love punk IPA, and I've never managed to finish a glass of it. It just always seems overly bitter and just ugh.
Yeah.
But that might have been like stew of 2019, 2020, where it's like, I just drink Budweiser, and then I try something craft, like, oh, this is disgusting, hog's piss, and just don't go back to it. Whereas maybe now I want to try it because I'm a little bit more educated, like my palate has changed, but
Yeah.
it's also Brewdog, so I'm not really. I just stay when I talk about them. So, but that would be the answer. That is the answer.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed some of their more fruitier concoctions, Elvis Juice, Clockwork Tangerine, but the standard, like the pillar that their fortune lies on, Punk IPA, I have no time for it.
That's it. You heard it here first, guys. Stuart Sutherland done with Brewdog. Let's get that to the papers to put that in the morning edition, please. I really struggled to think of something that we haven't spoken before. Again, like we always, we don't really like your Carlins and your Fossers and stuff. We're talking big breweries. It's just not really my thing. They got their place. People dig them. It's beautiful. It's not really my thing. And in favorite breweries, the only thing I could think of was I know Tetley's has done a lager. And I have not tried it yet, but I've heard from reliable sources, extremely reliable sources. But he tends to normally just stand upright rather than be liable. He hasn't done any crimes. He's innocent. He's not liable.
Next question.
Things. But I've heard they've done lager, and I've heard it's not very good. That's the only one I can think of.
Okay, right.
Sorry,
get out your system.
Sorry, Stu. Sorry to both Stews. I couldn't come with a better
equally
answer
offended
than that. Yeah, I'm sure you are, man.
I just feel dirty after hearing that answer.
Do you feel slap like a kettle then? Don't laugh on there, man. Right. Amijotia on Instagram asked, what is the strongest beer in the world? Google is your friend. That's what we're going to say to that. But what it did remind me of, though, I think we talked about on the show, was that like that snake beer, wasn't it? It was about 70% or something. I'm sure we.
And it was like a little.
Yeah.
What looked like a normal bottle, but it was just kind of like a miniature.
Yeah.
But for beer.
Yeah, we talked about the show like a long time ago, but that was like snake beer or snake venom beer, and that was like 70% or something like that. So I think that's
you wouldn't be able to send that through the Royal Mail.
They're definitely not letting that through. No, 100%. I've sent that by pigeon, probably Stu. Jason May at Vanilla Mice. That's pretty cool. On Twitter, asked, what alcohol percentage do you think is acceptable to qualify as a session ale? I saw one the other day and it was 5.8%. Seems a bit on the high side to me.
Yeah, that's a bit high.
Yeah, it's a bit high, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from my history with sessions, I always complain because, these always taste watered down. Like, completely missing the point of it's like this for the session ability.
Yeah.
But, anything between 3 and 5 at most. That's the ground you play with your session beer.
I think so, man. Yeah,
if you're going 5 and over, you're just going into standard pale and IPA territory. Like you can't really session if it's above 5. You're really limiting your session ability. Like having 3 of those, that's the session's over. Good night. Man. Put your nightcap on.
100%.
Draw the curtains. Turn off the heating and get into bed. You're done, son.
Done, dude. You're done. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if I'm in a session, I normally session obviously bitters, draft bitters. They tend to sit around 3.5, max about 4. And that for me is very acceptable. Might be a bit thick, might be a lot on the stomach. But for me, that's perfect. Anything more than that, it's getting a bit too much. I do like to session different beers at different percentages. But if I'm going to have that same high percentage, I mean 6% all night, that seems like a lot to ask for. So for me, I think the cutoff would be about 4 or so. We done any session beers on the show? I was trying to rack my head. I know we've done a table beer from the Colonel, but I can't think of any other ones that we've done.
Maybe the Wild Beer Co. How it was like a milk stout, and the other was like Under the Sun. I think was a session.
Yeah, you're right, mate. Under the Sun, I could see myself sessioning. I don't know what the percentage of that was, but it wasn't too strong. I'm sure that was around the 4% range. And that wasn't too powerful in its flavors that you couldn't, it wasn't powerful enough for you not to be able to session it. I don't think so. I could see that working for sure. But I think again, if I'm going to sesh, probably something a bit more kind of milder for me. If I'm going to go at the same thing, all night, definitely. If it's going to be a mix of stuff, I tend to just not drink too much of it, because that'll be that would probably be a disaster. But you try on the show sometime.
Yeah,
seems good.
Season 5.
Good idea for us to do.
Session season.
Perfect. And then we've got Harry at Mellow Matters. And he asked, what is the ultimate beer and food pairing? We've been asked this a lot in the past, or at least we've talked about it a lot in the past. And we've kind of got to go to answers. What's yours, Stu?
A nice traditional Thai premium lager to go with a stir fry.
Perfect. You've definitely said that in the past.
Past 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not exactly a meal, but we always say crisps.
Walker's Max.
Pringles, the new ones, the spicy boys, amazing. Pork scratchings, I love as well. Just something a bit kind of chompy. Pretzels, maybe.
I want. Salty pretzels would definitely.
Those sour cream boys, have you had them? I don't know who makes them, but they're pretty good.
No, but I'm just thinking how people say certain like milk stouts is sort of like a dessert beer. I should really do pair like a pudding with like a dark chocolate stout, or how you get those Rocky Road stouts. Just something like a sweet chocolatey beer to maybe go with like a Black Forest Gatto.
Man, yeah, that's a good idea. Would you pick Adnams Broadside Christmas pudding to go with Adnams Broadside beer? Because that's a good pairing, and
totally.
That was pretty much the best night of my life. I would recommend that highly. Maybe not the next day, but the night was good.
Yeah, that's all that counts. That memory,
all that matters.
Focus on the good times, not the next day on the pan.
No, sorry. That is about it, guys. Thank you for your questions. We really appreciate that. Shout out to everybody who contributed. That was brilliant of you. We're going to promise beer to someone.
Yeah, Tom, pick a winner.
Me.
Pick a winner.
I mean, it's not. The best of a bad bunch. That is.
Oh, Dirty Stu, congratulations.
Oh, yeah. You did it, buddy. You did it. I mean, come on. He hooked us up with two fantastic questions. Come on. It's a no-brainer.
Tom will send you some beer. What a guy.
Probably not.
First class.
Oh, Stu does a lot of the...
Airmail, the lot.
Yeah, sending. So that's probably on Stu. Stu! What do you think of this beer? It's confusing me.
It is. I mean, we should have been trying sake for the last week to kind of to have the knowledge on both ends of what sake and lager should be like together.
Yeah, I've had sake, but years ago, man. And I remember it being like a bit of a not nice variation on vodka. That's probably absolute blasphemy to people who like vodka and sake, but that's kind of my interpretation of it, or was my interpretation of it. But this is it's just like a very
You know,
Do you know what it is? It's lighter than I thought it was going to be.
yeah,
It's very light. It's got that initial taste, very bitter.
it's just a fancy lager.
Yeah, there's just not a lot else going on for me.
Mhm. You know, it's just like
Shame.
a pilsner with a different taste. It's not quite floral. It's light and crisp, but kind of bitter. There's not. I can't nail down the flavor, but maybe that's sake.
Maybe, man, you might be right.
I don't. Would the brewing process just be as easy as like when they're fermenting the beer, just chucking sake into it? Is that just blasphemy? I don't know.
You're gonna have to ask Brucey boy, see what he said.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was there
On the
for
back
the
label,
entire
it
process.
took them 2 years to come up with this.
Dedication.
And to be honest, I would be like there for one day, and if it got to like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd be like, "Fuck it, just chuck sake in it and call it a day."
It's yeah, I think there's a little bit of spice to it that you'd expect with the pills, that a tiny bit, but it's on the very back end as I'm going through that bitterness, but then it just evaporates straight away. Like there's no lingering flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just goes. I mean, it's fine. It's drinkable, but yeah, a bit
Totally.
disappointing maybe. I thought there'd be a bit more to it, but no bother. Guys, that is it. Another sensational start to the season. And, you know, I think that was an even better opener than that time that the Beastie Boys supported Madonna on her 1985 Virgin tour. Just tonally a good kicker off, an organic start. It's at the Lagerlogs for our socials. You can keep up to date with all the goings on in the world of Tom and Stu, or Som, as I like to call us. And I'd like to think we're a bit better than that First World War battle people rave about all the time, you know, banging on about it constantly on the social media. It gets boring, guys. Come on, let's hear about some of the wars. Stu, is there things going on over there? Should people look into that? Why? Give them some incentive, please.
It's going not bad actually, Tom. We've hit over 600 followers on Instagram. There's people sliding into our DMs left, right, and center.
Wow.
I'm not sure if we're ready to start displaying Gothic jewellery as an ambassador, as part of a pyramid scheme. Maybe not yet, but if I am wearing earrings in our next episode, you know we've caved.
Think it over, guys. Think it over.
But no, we've been making friends with breweries. There's people following us back. Conversations are starting. It's all I ever wanted with our social media. So, you know, hop on Instagram, have a look. We're posting beer pics, beer videos. It's like podcast clips. And this is now extending across to our YouTube channel. The best way to find it is really just go to thelagerlogs.com, because the main videos you'll want to know about will be posted on our homepage. And then from there, you could go back into our YouTube channel and see it's just podcast clips of us drinking the beers from previous seasons. At the moment, I have an episode where a video already uploaded, not yet published, but it is the time where me and Tom tried Copperberg Fruit Lager.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Talking about flashbacks. Jeez.
Yes. And then we answer
that was interesting.
a question in that very same episode about does fruit belong in beer. So it's a perfect combo.
Controversial. Very controversial. So
by the time this episode's up, that will be reintroduced to the wilds. If you haven't heard on the podcast already, you could see our reactions to drinking that sugary lager.
Brilliant. That's what else do you guys want? I mean, check that out. Thelagerlogs.com. That's the main hub for everything. Yep. Check that out. Next week, you will hear us for not the only time this season try and fail to interview a human subject. Next episode, Mighty Mike Garrett is in the hot seat. And man, was it hot. We put Miss World 1984 under the chair as we interviewed him. And we review one of his favorites, J. Paw. So stick one of those bad boys in the fridge. Oh, God.
Sorry, I know I interrupted you there. But Thomas, Both our listeners are thinking, who is Mike Garrett?
I have no idea still. And I interviewed him. Mike Garrett.
Really? Don't give me that shitty
Brewer. Brewmasters, beer masters, extraordinaire,
Wow. Okay.
celebrity, just fantastic guy all around. We had an absolute blast chatting to him. I hope you guys enjoy it when you hear it. And yeah, we will see you next Friday. Bon voyage, booze hounds. Say goodbye, Stu.
Goodbye. Good luck. Good night.